So today's webinar will explore essential strategies for building strong partnerships, which of course are vital for strengthening cost of living support at local level. So by working collaboratively, councils can unlock new funding, opportunities, share resources, and develop sustainable solutions that make a real difference in their communities. Across Wales, communities are still facing increasing financial pressures due to the ongoing cost of living crisis. Rising energy bills, food prices, and housing costs continue to impact households, with 34% of people in Wales reporting that they are struggling to afford everyday essentials, and that's according to the Bevan Foundation in 2024. Meanwhile, local councils are under growing strain, working with limited budgets and resources to support those residents who are in need. So despite these challenges, councils are uniquely positioned to bring people together and coordinate targeted responses by building strong partnerships with voluntary organisations, community groups and other stakeholders. Community and town councils can access more funding, share expertise and deliver high impact initiatives that can make a tangible difference to people's lives. So today we're fortunate enough to be joined by several guest speakers, and these include councils who've already made significant strides in this area. We will also be hearing from Hazel Lloyd Lubran, CEO of Ceredigion CVC, and she'll be sharing insights on how your local CVC can help councils secure funding and resources. We'll also be joined by Councillor Randall Thomas Turner from Haverfordwest Town Council, and he'll be highlighting key strategies behind his successful partnerships. And these include provocative networking, multi-agency funding and resource sharing to deliver lasting community support. We'll also be hearing from Councillor Nick Howells from Welshpool Town Council, who will be highlighting successful collaborative initiatives that have directly benefited the community, including the thriving Meals on Wheels service, and Councillor Carol Robinson will also be talking about the innovative Give and Take scheme, which provides vital support to residents. So I'll begin by handing over to Hazel Lloyd Lubran, CEO of Ceredigion CVC. Bore da, Hazel.
Bore da pawb o Ceredigion. Many thanks, Angela, and some really important points that you raise in your introduction. Still incredibly important that we focus on the cost of living crisis, because the situation isn't going to get any better any soon. So the need for us to be working collaboratively together is more important now than ever. As Angela said, my name is Hazel Lloyd Lubran and I'm Chief Officer at the Ceredigion Association of Voluntary Organisations. And we form part of a network of support organisations that cover the whole of Wales, that offer advice and assistance to the third sector, to community and voluntary groups across Wales. So there are 19 of us as county voluntary councils across Wales, and we work very closely with the Wales Council for Voluntary Action as part of Third Sector Support Wales. So I'll include the website details for Third Sector Support Wales in the chat, so that everybody, all the information and access to different resources and contact details, importantly, are in that link. And if you're not already aware of your local county voluntary council, then please reach out and find them, follow them on social media, contact them to see how you can receive updates and information. We all work together very closely across the whole of Wales, and we all work around 4 pillars of activity. Our programme of work and our programme of support breaks down around 4 pillars. One is around good governance. So we support third sector organisations with all kinds of governance queries, from setting up projects, setting up as an organisation, to managing staff and volunteers and developing policies. We've also developed the Knowledge Hub, which is an online site with all kinds of resources and information and opportunities for people to network and learn and support each other. So always a good place to start your search if you're looking for information. So good governance is the first pillar. Second pillar is volunteering. It is increasingly important that we value the people that we have in our communities that are willing to stand up and give their time for nothing to make a difference to their communities and to other people. A big focus of our work is around supporting, recognising and retaining volunteers in Wales. Now, recruitment is often challenging, so we support organisations, volunteer-involving organisations, with the recruitment of the right volunteers. But we also try and match up people who want to volunteer with appropriate opportunities for them in their local area. So a big part of the work that we're doing across Wales at the moment is looking at how we make it easier for people to give their time, and how we explore maybe some more informal opportunities for people to volunteer and make a difference. In Ceredigion, we're doing some work at the moment to look at participatory resourcing and how communities can work with town and community councils to make a difference in their community. Particularly if that difference means that costs don't have to increase, particularly in communities. You're in a very, very difficult position as town and community councils across Wales, where with the cost of living crisis, the last thing you want to do is raise your precepts, is raise your element of council tax. But as everything increases, as your responsibilities increase as well, you're in a very difficult position not to do that. So even more reason to work with communities and work with people locally to try and come up with no-cost solutions to some of the challenges that you're facing and some of the challenges that you're needing to address as town and community councils in your local areas. So that need to work with people to give their time is increasingly important in that space. And we're quite keen in Ceredigion to look at opportunities to do that and to share some of that learning with others. Funding. And before I move on from our second pillar, volunteering, we have developed a volunteering website called Volunteering Wales, where people share details of their opportunities, and individuals who are interested in volunteering can find a little bit more about the opportunities that are available. Third pillar of activity is funding, and we have developed another online resource called Funding Wales, which lists many grants and funding sources available across Wales, which we update regularly. So we support community groups and community and voluntary groups to access funding opportunities, but we also promote grants and arrange volunteering fairs, meet the funder events and opportunities for community and voluntary groups to contact and question funders directly and to understand what's available for them and what the most appropriate funding opportunities might be for their organisations and for their projects. Some of us as county voluntary councils, many of us actually as county voluntary councils across Wales and WCVA, we also manage our own grant schemes. Tend to be small grant schemes, tend to be time limited, but any investment in the sector is positive. Some of which might be open to town and community councils, particularly if you're working collaboratively with other community and voluntary groups in your areas, and particularly if the activities are non-statutory activities. So that varies depending on the grant and depending on the idea and the project that you want funded, but it's always worth having a conversation. And I think in terms of funding, there might be more opportunities for us to be working with you as town and community councils to look at that match funding element that we could be exploring with any resources that you have access to as well. So that might be an area that we need to be working on a little more in future. Just a few examples of the ways county voluntary councils have worked with town and community councils in the past. We know we have several town and community council that manage warm spaces in their local areas. Community transport has been an area that town and community councils have funded and supported and managed in the past. And we're noticing an increasing positive trend in Ceredigion in town and community councils actually arranging information events, well-being events, advice events for their wider community. And in Cavo in Ceredigion, we're keen to support and fund some of that moving forward. We have many partners that arrange these sessions in local communities, but don't get the people to attend. And I think it's really important that those initiatives are developed from local communities by the people in those communities that understand what communities want. So very, very keen to support that. And I think, Angela, in your introduction, you mentioned food. And I know that many of us as county voluntary councils support local authorities and other partners in distributing food grants for revenue and capital projects, and some town and community councils have been involved in some of those activities as well. So last but not least, fourth pillar is engagement and influence, and again a great deal of our work revolves around supporting and representing the third sector, representing community and voluntary groups in our counties, across regions and across Wales. And I think One Voice Wales are partners on most public services boards, I think, across Wales. We need to make sure that we are using those spaces to build partnerships and build those opportunities to collaborate with others, to support people that need help with cost of living increases. So we need to make the most of those spaces, the public services boards on a county level and the regional partnership boards on the health board footprint that have a focus on transforming and redeveloping health and social care services. So opportunities there for us to work together, to work with other partners to make a difference in our communities. And I think, again, as we move forward, we need to be more conscious of where we're investing the money and the resources and the time that we do have. It's a particular concern to us in Ceredigion that some of our community centres, our village halls, the beating hub of our communities are finding it increasingly difficult, to get trustees to manage those resources, but to get the funding to keep those doors open. With the increasing cost of electricity and heating and maintaining those buildings, it's becoming quite a burden. If we don't keep those doors open, then the very activities that we need to be supporting in our communities to help people with the cost of living crisis disappears. So we do need to be working together to make sure that we safeguard some of our vital resources in our communities. So lots of work, lots of potential to work together in the future, I hope. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you so much, Hazel. Some real words of wisdom, some great advice there as well that I'm sure lots of people can take away and take on board and start thinking about as well. Yeah, can't stress enough how much working in partnership with others is the key to this. You know, we know that councils alone can't always achieve all of the things that the communities require, but there are lots of agencies, lots of partnerships, businesses that they can tap into to, you know, secure that funding, or maybe it might be a building, or whether it's just people, volunteers who can come together and support them. So there's lots and lots of routes to achieving that success.
Yeah, and I think so, Angela. That's sorry, Angela. That's a really important point. It's that opportunity to network. So if you don't know who the providers might be, who the key players might be in your community, then contact your county voluntary council. We can point you in the right direction. And it is about working with others. If you can't directly draw that money down as a town or community council, then work with others that can. So yeah, it is about making the most of the time that's available and the grants that are available, because there is increasing competition for a great many of our main grants. Talking to some of our main grant providers like the lottery, like Comic Relief, Children in Need and others, they are getting far more applications in than they can fund. So we do need to be working together to make sure that we are targeting and supporting the right people.
Of course, and that's a really important point that you make there, Hazel, because we see lots of grants that do become available, but very few of them can be applied for directly by town and community councils. So I think that's a really, really important point to stress there. That just because it's not applicable to you to apply for, it doesn't mean that you can't tap into it and you can't access that. So yeah,
it doesn't mean that your communities can't benefit from it. So yeah, share those opportunities as well through your contacts, so that people can. I think there is something around, you know, how do we better support those who are most vulnerable in our community? In terms of getting that really informal, good neighbour approach back and getting people engaged and involved in some of that. So care and different approaches, really community-based approaches to genuine care for people in our communities and looking after our own. I think it would be a really interesting area to explore further. Some really good things happening, but really be good to share some of that. But for me at the moment, my burning issue at the moment is engagement. Genuine engagement with communities. I think we're getting that so wrong on so many different levels. We need to be having conversations with people about what's important to them, what they want, what matters to them, and how they can help. And we need to have a genuine relationship with the people that we're supporting in our communities, because there are difficult decisions ahead. And we need to have a really trusting, open relationship with the people that we're supporting. And again, there is far more that we need to be doing in that space.
So next we'll be hearing from Councillor Randall Thomas Turner from Haverfordwest Town Council, and he'll hopefully be sharing some nuggets of information on how he's been able to build some really successful partnerships in a very short period of time, and how that has benefited his community. So if I could hand over to you, Councillor Randall Thomas Turner.
My name is Councillor Randall Isaiah Thomas Turner, and I have my wife, Councillor Danny Thomas Turner, and we are from Haverfordwest Town Council, and our initiative is Feed the Community. The vision for Feed the Community is to provide a one-stop shop for information, services, hot meal, and socializing. As you know, the cost of living crisis is all over the UK, and especially hitting us rurally in Pembrokeshire. Our vision we came up with this time last year, and it was actually the cold snap we had in 23. And so me and Danny, we put our heads together, and it was like, well, we need to do something for the town that will benefit them in the next winter. We had inklings of what may or may happen with the new government that has arose, and we had a foresight of that. So I'm glad that we put this in when we did, because heavens above that we kind of need it. So how we did it was we had 21 stakeholders. So in the picture that you see is the stakeholders. So how did we do it? We arranged the meetings with we arranged meetings with our 21 stakeholders. So our 21 stakeholders are Tesco's, Haverfordwest. They're one of our key partners in this. So we went to Tesco's and we came up with our plan, which was to feed the community, and if they could be able to help donate anything for this. So the aim for Tesco's to help out was that we wanted to bring a nutritionalist into our stakeholders for the nutritionist to show our residents how to eat and cook cheaply. And so Tesco's Haverfordwest kindly gave us pasta, staple foods, tomatoes, things like that, so they could have a cheap and easy and nutritious meal. And then we looked at the viewing potential spaces. So Haverfordwest is the county town of Pembrokeshire. So our residents we have one of the bigger per capitas in Pembrokeshire. So we had to make sure we had potential space for that kind of volume. So we looked at a couple of key spaces. We looked at what we call the Haver Hub, which is the community hub for Haverfordwest. It used to be our old postal office very long time ago, and it's now being converted into quite a extraordinary community hub. So we talked to Haver Hub for costs and everything. The cost for us for the community hub was £70 per initiative. And this is a 6-month initiative. So that was the bulk of our cost, was the actual space involved in that. We created the poster. We wanted something bold, something vibrant, as you can see on the left-hand side there, for the community with a QR code. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to make sure that we are reaching out to everybody in the community, from Gen Z all the way to the boomers, and everyone in the middle as well, including us millennials who have the best of both worlds. So the QR code is there. So the Gen Zs and some millennials can just pop that onto their on their phone, and they can see the dates and the times and everything on there, and then the event that's actually on social media as well. That goes back to the social media and the radio. So we also partnered with Pure West Radio, which is our local radio station, and had them come out to each one of these and broadcast it from the hills. We also use social media. So my background is political science with a minor in crisis management. So aggressive social media is one of my fortes in this. So we aggressively go out on social media platforms from Facebook to Instagram, and we share every single day, at least 2 to 3 times a day, on other groups and on other social platforms as well. Myself and my wife have 4 social media platforms between us, and then we have other stakeholders that are partnered with us that use their social media platforms to share the message. The last one we had, the last Feed the World, we had 24 shares on the social media platform for this one poster. That was just from one poster. One share created 24 shares. So in a social media aspect, that's pretty good going. That poster there that you see there last month on our professional dashboard for social media had 3,789 views. That is the largest view count that any of our pages have ever seen. So we definitely got the message out there by creating posts and with social media. We also looked at
Randall.
feedback.
Hi,
We
Randall.
also
Sorry, can I just jump in there? Your
Yes.
presentation isn't actually moving along the slides. We can still see just the opening slides, so people aren't able to see the resources that you're speaking about. I thought I'd just mention that to you. There we go. Thank you.
Leave it on that one then.
So you're gonna have to leave it on there.
Yeah. So yes, thank you. So the feedback sessions for the improvements. So we were 3 months into the initiative when we were having I wouldn't say negative feedback, but constructive feedback from certain members of council requesting feedback sessions. How the question was put upon us is, how are we knowing that these individuals we're helping are from the town and aren't, are not using the system, so to say? So we came back with a feedback form, and on that feedback form, one of the questions is, what is your postcode? Are you a resident of Haverfordwest? How do you feel about this initiative? Do you think it's a good initiative? Questions like that. On the last Feed the Community, we had 35 feedback forms back, which is quite a significant amount to be fair. And the consensus of those feedback sessions were scale 1 to 5. We only had one of those feedback forms with a 3. The others were 4 and 5s, which was absolutely brilliant. The consensus of that was we needed more advertisement. That was the biggest nerve on that. But I mean, that's something that that we're planning to remedy with more aggressive social media. Get that 24.
The non-social media bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the non-social media. So we'll be looking at canvassing, leaflets throughout the town. So we we're looking at things like that and posters as well.
We
And
did have posters up, but a lot of people thought that it was only for the one event, so then they took them down. So it's kind of trying to go back round and get them to put them back up.
They've got all the dates.
yes, now the funding. Now ours is a little different. So I'm in a position where we did this off our own back first and foremost. So we went to town council with an idea, and town council were skeptical at first, which is to be granted. There would have been a significant amount of investment into town council, and a lot of town councils want to make sure that that investment is worth the risk. If you take risk and management ratio, you got to see if anybody has stocks or shares. You'll know what I'm talking about. So what we did first was we did a run test. So me and Councillor Danny Thomas Turner, we paid out of our own back pocket £170 for the first initiative, which took place in October. And that was a great success. We had, I believe, 56 people show up for the first one, and it was just a huge success. So we went back to Haverfordwest Town Council with the information, and they were like, "Hey, this is viable now. We're willing to fund this." So they funded us for 5 months up till March, which is the last Feed the Community for 24-25, and then hopefully potentially we'll gear up again for 25-26. But the amount was £850, £100 for the food that was uh, provided by the Box, Ben and Ellie Goby. We have our own personal catering service at the initiative, which we are very, very blessed to do so. Anybody from Pembrokeshire probably heard of Ben and Ellie Goby. They do very, very great catering experience for all types of occasions, weddings, galas, things like that. So we got them on board, and they said, look, we can do it a pound per person. So theoretically, we're feeding 100 people for £100. So that's we're absolutely fantastic about that. So and then the rest of the money the went for the accommodation for it. So it was quite a significant investment on that. £70 per head for the warm space at the Haver Hub, £100 for the food. I'd like to also mention when it comes to the food, we do picky food to as an appetizer, and then we usually do like a chili con carne that they take home with them afterwards. Now, the recruitment and volunteers for help, we're also blessed to have a great bunch of volunteers from all churches from Haverfordwest. So we were being told by Reverend Neil Hook that all 10 Anglican churches in Haverfordwest have lined in coordination with us to get this event up and running. So we've got all 10 local churches with the volunteers to help out with this. And we also have Life Point Pems, and we have the VC Gallery as well helping out with this. This initiative. So we also have produce from the VC Gallery Garden Project from Dig for Victory. So we have got a lot of good resources coming from this as well. Now we go back to the feedback. We go back to the feedback forms on that. And how's it going? So you can tell right now that this is some of the picky bits that we're having from Feed the Initiative. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the VCs, garden projects, some of their crops and the cheeses and some of the chutneys that are on display there with nutritious value. And then on the right-hand side, from left to right, you'll see panko chicken, cheese and a leek sausage rolls, cheese and leek bonbons. So they're quite spoiled for choice at Haverfordwest Feed the Community Initiative. And on the right-hand side there, you have a member of Ben and Ellie's team from the Bonks serving that up as well. So this is that, and that's just the appetizer. The main pack of this is the chili con carne, which is individually wrapped and packaged, ready to go to warm up for them at a later date. So that's really great. So how's it going? It's going pretty well. We're on the next week. We'll be on the 5th Feed the Community. And it's going great. So I just want to highlight a couple of things that we do at Feed the Community. From left to right, we have Cariad Dog Therapy there. They come down and bring their emotional support animals alongside as well. On the right-hand side of that, you will see a picture with myself and Councillor Danny Thomas Turner with the director of Specsavers Haverfordwest. Specsavers Haverfordwest is the biggest Specsavers in Wales, with their flagship building just being underway, and they are the blueprint for the other Specsavers going forward in the future. And then on the left-hand side again, we have the Haver Shed, which is the men's shed for well-being purposes. So their main niche is they love wood, they love tools, and they love to put those two together, and they make extraordinary things while having a cup of Joe, and having a manly chat, and just getting on with things there. And then one of the best things about this is we do free haircuts. I'll say that again. We do free haircuts for anybody who comes in. This is for me one of the pivotal parts of this initiative. And then we have the free clothes swap. So my wife will tell you firsthand that I have too many suits. I have too many clothes. My problem that I have is my wardrobe is bigger than my wife's. So a lot of these clothes that you see here are donations from a personal wardrobe. And it's great to see because a lot of people get a lot more use out of them than I did. I've been told that I can no longer have any more suits because I have 11 suits. So yeah, we have to make room for Danny's wardrobe as well. So
So it's not just clothes. So it's clothes, shoes. There's blankets. There's food as well there. So there's pre-packet food that we've been donated for people to take as well. So they don't have to take any. They don't have to bring anything to take anything. There is a donation tin if anyone wants to put anything in, but it's just take anything that you may need.
yeah, we also on that table we also have diapers for the children. We have sanitary products for women, deodorants from men. This is when I say this is a one-stop shop, it truly is. And again, everything at these initiatives are free. So we are very blessed to have these stakeholders here. Again, you'll see from the sun will go from the right. You'll have the edge, which is our youth group from Pembrokeshire County Council. They come along because of the timings that we've done this is from 2:30 to 5, and we did those timings so that the moms and dads can bring their kids down as well. So we've got the edge there for support for the children as well. We've got coloring books, we've got games and chessboards and everything. And we also have our safeguarding officer on the left and our community engagement officer on the right there, Steve Lewis and Taylor Truman. On the right-hand side again, we have PAVS, which is a counterpart of CAVO, which we just heard the young lady speak before me. So this is the Pembrokeshire version of her establishment, and they are an absolute godsend. They have come to every single one of them, and they really do help out with knowledge initiatives and things like that. And then we have neighborhood watch, because what we've come to realize is to have a safer community, we have to be watching each other's backs. And so me and Danny are also coordinators for Haverfordwest Neighborhood Watch. So we brought them along as well for anybody who's interested to make the community a little bit more safe. And then we have paths again on the right hand, and then we have the hub there as well, that also help out with a community hub as well. So yeah, so we have a lot of stakeholders, 21 in fact. We have citizens advice as well there. The only thing we don't have is a representation from one of the banks, but we're trying to get. Yeah, we're trying to get a hold of them as well, but we literally got everything else there. So that's the.
I just wanted to go back to the slide that was missed because they couldn't see the slide.
Yes.
Just because it's got all of the stakeholders that were there.
So yes, so all the stakeholders there. There's a lot of us, but yeah, we get the job done. It was important for me and Danny when we started this to reach out to as many people as we can, including. including members of the church and of the local authority as well. So what we have going on at the next the community initiative is I have reached out to the First Minister of Wales, Eileen Morgan, our member of Senedd, Paul Davis, all 5 county councillors for Haverfordwest, and our local MP, Henry Tufnell. And the reason why I've reached out to all of them is because as senior leaders of our community, it is in their best interest to see what we are doing to provide for our community. So they can go back to their respective organizations and say, hey, this is where we're at right now. We need to see if we can help other communities, just like Haverfordwest is doing for theirs. Potentially bring it up to the Senedd, so allow them to have a discussion about more funding towards these kind of events. And I will let you know right now, funding for us, grant funding for us has been a hit or miss. The grant application forms, as some of you may or may not know, are difficult at times. But you know, we will overcome. But it would be in everyone's best interest to try to do something of this stature. My biggest thing for this is, because we are the county town, we must lead by example. And I believe Haverfordwest is doing that by Feed the Community initiative. So yeah, we are leading the way on this. We also have another stakeholder coming into the mix called DDAS, which is drug and alcohol substances abuse. So it's very important for all of us here in Haverfordwest to bring everybody into the mix, because you know, with the cost of living crisis, that comes with its own problems. Crime goes up. People turn to substances. You know, it's just the nature of the beast when you're in these kind of situations. So to have these kind of resources available to mitigate the surge and influx of these types of behaviors is, for me, very pivotal. So I'll leave it at that. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know.
Oh, thank you very much, Randall, for that wonderful presentation. You've all been working extremely hard, it seems, at Haverfordwest to secure all of these partnerships and to provide all of this support for your community. Just one question that I have for you, Randall. You spoke about some of the partners who've offered their services to the community. You talked about the haircuts and nappies. Are these donated? Is it free of charge to those within the community, or is there a charge associated?
No, there's no charge. There's no charge at all to the community. As I said, we wanted to make sure that everything is free because of the cost of living crisis. I'm not going to lie, it hit Pembrokeshire quite hard when in my day job, I'm the operational managers for a cleaning service in our major supermarket, Tesco's, and the amount of people I see stealing meat just to live is shocking. So I've made it a point to make sure that everything here is free of charge. Everything. So yeah,
Cost us anything.
yeah, it doesn't cost us anything either. So everything from the haircuts to the dog therapy to the nutritionist, everything is free. The clothes, everything is free. The diapers, everything is free.
And is there any cost associated to the council at all with any of these providers? With any of these partnerships?
The discussions that we had with them, or we managed to secure them as volunteers to the initiative.
Gosh, that's incredible. That's wonderful. I know that when we spoke separately as well, Randall, you touched on in your presentation there, Specsavers. But just to expand on that, the service that they offer the community was it free repairs to glasses?
Yes,
So if
free
any of
repairs.
the residents that's right. So if
Yeah.
you want to just tell us a little bit about that and how that scheme works.
I will let Councillor Danny Thomas Turner do that because she's actually the administrator for Specsavers. So I will let her take lead on that.
So with Specsavers, I spoke to my director of the store, and he is very much, he likes to be part of the community, and we find in store a lot of people who they only have time to come out to go to one place, or they don't have the means to come out because they're staying home to stay warm, but they have needs that they need a repair done, they need their glasses cleaned, just little things like that, or they need a bit of advice. So it was to incorporate that as part of this event meant people didn't have to come into the store, they didn't have to make a different journey, they could have it all done while they were there. And we're trying to promote as well the Welsh eye care services. So with the NHS being overloaded at the moment, a lot of people are still going to the doctors or to A&E straight away with eye problems. Whereas if they phone any opticians, not just Specsavers, they can then be triaged and seen by us with potential prescriptions if needed, any advice like that, without going to their doctors or A&E first.
Okay, that's great to know, isn't it? So that's definitely something that everyone here can be thinking about, you know, who those partners are out there, who they can get on board with, and how they can support the needs of their communities. There's a really good example of that. That's great. Thank you for that. Hazel's got a comment in the chat here where she says it's a perfect example of the significant direct impact we can achieve through local action. Brilliant links with fantastic Haverfordwest projects. Also great that you've used the opportunity to engage with those who attend. So yeah, all great stuff there. Thanks for that comment, Hazel. And Chris has asked, how are the issues around food hygiene regulations and food ratings covered in this initiative?
Oh, that's a great question, Chris. I'm glad that you asked that. No, there is no issues around the food hygiene or regulations, and the reason for that is because of Ben and Ellie Goby having their actual business in Haverhub. We're covered for the food rating certificate because we're actually in their domain. So that's how we got across that. Yeah. So we're like, again, we were very blessed when we sat down with them and we had a conversation. I think with all the stakeholders, because I know a lot of people are scratching their heads like, you got 21 stakeholders to do this all free of charge. Yes, we did, but it was because everybody in Haverfordwest has community spirit. We talked to these individuals. We told them what's going on. They understand the crack, and there's a sense of urgency for it in the community. For the last 18 months, as I've been a councillor, I made sure that we put community spirit before anything else in my ward, and this just goes and shows what those hard 18 months have done. We've created something special and unique, and we're leading the way. We are the county town, and we need a lead.
Can I just add, I think a lot of it as well was the approach to them.
Yeah.
So the way that we approached them, we were asking, not just saying we demand this from you. So it was more of a collaborative decision for them to be part of it.
Yeah, and it's a great networking for everybody. The actual offshoots that you don't see in this presentation is that other collabs have happened because of this initiative. Pavs is now doing work with K1 Barbers and New Style Barbers for the haircuts. The Havershed are now in talks with the Box for a catering thing. So there's other networking things going on behind the scenes, which is absolutely incredible to see.
They have had the barbers especially, have had some people go in and say, oh, we saw you were at that event, but we're just coming here to have our haircut because you were at that event. So they've also got business from it on the back of it by giving the free haircuts.
Gosh, excellent example of how hard work and working with the community can achieve such amazing results. Gosh, 21 partners, that is amazing. And we'll definitely be watching the space to see where you move forward in the next few months. I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming on board as well. Great stuff. So next then we'll move on to Welshpool Town Council. Where we'll be hearing from Nick, who will be talking about their fantastic Meals on Wheels initiative. Sorry, not the wheels, Meals on Wheels. He'll be talking about their warm hub and also touching on the Meals on Wheels as well.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Councillor Nick Howells, part of the Welshpool Town Council. I spoke at length with Angela about this couple of weeks ago, and I basically, with the help of Debbie, one of our office staff, started the Warm Hub in Welshpool in October 2022, and we started off just doing tea, coffee and biscuits. We had a room in the town hall, the big ballroom, which is heated anyway. If we heat the downstairs, we have to heat the upstairs because it's an ancient heating system. So we thought we'll utilize that room by opening a warm hub. That went on for a couple of months, and I weren't really happy just with doing tea, coffee and biscuits. So having run pub kitchens in the past and worked in environmental health for many years, I decided I wanted to provide a hot meal. So I contacted our Meals on Wheels people who have the commercial kitchen in our day centre, and they agreed that if I provided them with baking potatoes, they would bake them for us. I would just need then to bring them to the town hall and we would reheat in a microwave. We didn't have a budget, so basically I went on Facebook and put out a plea saying what I was doing, what I wanted to do, and has anybody out there got a small functional microwave that they no longer need? Within a week, I had 8 microwaves. 3 of them were purchased brand new by local businesses for us. A couple failed the PAT test, so they had to go, and the rest we gave to social services. We also had other stuff donated to us, a tea urn, panini press, toaster, etc. And so we started doing, well, planned to start doing food. So I called in environmental health. As I said, I worked there for 18 years, and we agreed with the environmental health officer that we would not cook meat or fish as the kitchen facilities weren't really good enough. We've got a forward on the door, which is pretty good for a Victorian kitchen, and all the people, all the volunteers who are involved in food handling have got their level 2 food hygiene certificate. So we provide simple food, but it's a hot meal. You can have a baked potato with cheese or beans or both, beans on toast, a cheese and tomato toasty, a variety of soups. So yeah, it goes down very, very well and is hugely popular in the town. We've got 15 excellent volunteers who bend over backwards to help us. And last year, Deb told me that we had actually had over 3,000 visitors through, which we're very pleased about. We're funded by donations, and we do have a discreet donations box in the hub. If you don't want to pay anything, you don't have to pay anything. It's totally voluntary. And we have some fantastic donations coming from a load of local businesses. I'm thinking of Indotech and other places. I do have a list somewhere. We've also had bequests. A couple of people have left us money in their will to help support the hub, which is absolutely brilliant. And we have several organisations come the partnership side of it now. We have lots of organisations come in to the drop-in to give advice to people. In fact, the police are here today chatting to people. And we also have citizen advice come in once a month. And we have a queue outside the door for citizens' advice from about 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, until she's here till 1. We have a couple of ladies, Rachel and Donna, from the Department of Work and Pensions. They come in, sit with people, help them with CVs, help them to fill in job applications and things like that. Powys County Council, Housing and Finance come in to see us once a month to discuss housing matters and help with finance, obviously. That's Helen and Claire. We have the ARA Addiction Support comes in once a month to advise people with different problems, different addictions, and that's quite popular as well. We have Lucy, the water lady from Haverfordwest comes in once a month to advise people on water meters and how they can save on their water bills. We have Pavel that come in on a regular basis, just drop-ins. Pauline Pavel comes into us regularly. We have the NEA who come in to talk about energy and utilities, advising people how to get the lowest tariff for their gas and electric and other meterings and things like that. Who else do we have? Becky. Becky comes in from Warm Wales once a month, and Becky basically advises people again how to save money on their utilities by staying warm in other ways. She's very popular, and again gets a good queue when she comes in. And again, as I said, we had the local police who have been there at the moment chatting to people, visitors and volunteers. I've just been coached by Deb, who's sitting on my right. Don't forget to mention Deb from Morrison's, who is next on my list. Deb is she's Debbie. Deb is sitting on my right. Debbie is the community champion from Morrison's, who have been absolutely wonderful to us. Deb turns up on a regular basis with a great big green bread tray full of loaves of bread, donuts, cookies, all sorts of things, totally free. And they, again, go down extremely well with our visitors. I realise that I'm a little bit strapped for time. Angela did say don't overrun, because people say when I start talking, just wind me up and let me go. So I will move on briefly to tell you about our Meals on Wheels service. They actually do about 125 covers a week, which is pretty busy, and cover not just Welshpool, but they deliver in the whole of the local area. They go to places like Llanfair Corrynion, Gilsfield, Four Crosses, Ardleen, and the rest of the local community. We've got 3 full-time cooks, and again, we've got another 15 amazing volunteers that help up there, some of them driving, some of them helping with the preparation of food. They deliver the hot, freshly cooked food to the door, and it's not just a food delivery service. These volunteers actually go into people's houses and will sit for 5 or 10 minutes and actually chat to the customer, because a lot of these people live on their own, are elderly or infirm, and may not see anybody else for the whole of that day. So a very important part of the service is the fact that they sit and have a chat. So they again, Debbie from Morrison's, again, is a regular visitor to Meals on Wheels with a similar sort of fare, bread and cakes and donuts and all the rest of it. And twice a week, we have what we call the Community Haven. It's not a Welshpool Town Council initiative. It's a separate initiative from a different charity. But they operate from the day centre, which houses the Meals on Wheels kitchen, 2 days a week. And they have, I don't know, about 30 people in on both days. And they actually take advantage of our Meals on Wheels service. And all the people that go there do get a hot meal. I myself go there and call the bingo when they need me. And yeah, so very successful. It's been running now for over 60 years. And hopefully we'll carry on running for another 60 years. And quite honestly, that's about it from me. How did I do for time, Angela?
You did fantastically well, Nick. Thank you. You obviously covered absolutely everything there that you needed to. Great information there about the Warm Hub and all the partnerships that are, of course, involved in that initiative. So again, it's, you know, using that same space for lots of opportunities where people can seek help or support, again, through working with those organisations within your community. So again, a great example of not having to work with these partners individually, but how you can bring everything together as well to make that opportunity more worthwhile. So thank you very much for that, Nick. And the Wheels on Meals on Wheels, just to reiterate what you said there, I actually came out to visit Welshpool last week, and it was amazing to see all the hard work that goes into that initiative as well. And again, just to hear about all the wonderful stories of how, you know, that support, it really is a lifeline for so many people within your community. So, you know, hats off to you guys for providing that service too, from anything you've learned today. So thank you, Nick. And next, if we could move on to Councillor Carol Robinson. And Carol will be talking about their innovative give and take, which she was very instrumental in setting up a couple of years ago. So if I could hand over, Carol, to you, Borada.
Good morning. Yes, I'm Carol Robinson. I'm a Welshpool Town Councillor and also a Powys County Councillor. 6 years ago, I thought about doing something in the community, and I thought about food, vegetables and things that would be left. So I decided and come together with a couple of staff from the Welshpool Town Council to see what we could do. And then I decided, well, we'll call it Give and Take. Now, Give and Take is for vegetables of any sort and fruit as well of any sort. So I decided to go onto my Facebook and my Welshpool to advertise what I wanted to do with Give and Take. And the response I had was absolutely brilliant. My first week that I set up Give and Take, which we do from July up till the end of September, beginning of October. The first week, it was a bit quiet, and then each week after, it got out into the community what I was doing. People were actually coming with vegetables, apples, pears, all the fruit you could think about that they could grow. And it built up from then. Now, with this Give and Take, it's not only for the people in the community for vegetables and fruit. It's also for people to come and talk to us if they've got a problem. And each year, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's something that I'm very proud of. We have a couple of volunteers. We don't receive any funding from anybody. We do it from the people in the community that with goodwill of them giving us what they can give us. Also, Welshpool Tesco's and Welshpool Morrison's, like with Nick, their champions also give us vegetables as well, and mostly vegetables like cauliflowers and cabbages and things like that we don't receive. We may get a bit of donations from people, because you do get the people who say, oh no, I need to pay for this, I need to pay for this. So we take about 50 pence off them, but they're allowed to have what they want, but not, you know, to be greedy. We give them what they need. It's for the younger generation, especially young couples with children. They come, the elderly who come on a Saturday because they can have an onion, a couple of carrots and things like that, which if they go into a supermarket, sometimes they have to have packets. And at the end of the day, there's not a lot of money out there at the moment for people trying to manage. And it's just, I'm very proud of what I've done. And I'm also very proud of the people that's helped me. There's three of us. There's myself, there's Councillor Richards, who is a Powys County Councillor and also a Town Councillor, and also Debbie, she helps as well. And that's how we do it. We have no funding whatsoever. It's all goodwill from the people of Welshpool, the help to put this together. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And we've come like a little community on a Saturday outside the town hall. And people meet up there as well and have a little chat. Yeah, we are very proud of what we've done with Give and Take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. I love hearing about Give and Take. It's so unique. And what's wonderful about it is that firstly, there's absolutely no cost, as you've already mentioned. But secondly, how many people it's brought together within your community. And that's something we're hearing an awful lot about this morning, that it really is a case of working in partnership with everyone. And that's the way that we can move forward and really achieve those wonderful results that we're hearing about this morning. So it's been running now for a couple of years, hasn't it, Carolyn? As you say,
6 years. It's 6 years.
And bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I know you shared with me some of the wonderful stories about what this actually means for people in your community, people who maybe cannot afford fruit and veg, which are, you know, essential nutrients, but yet so costly in this day and age. So again, you know, if there are councils out there who want to set up something very low cost, where again it's a very much a case of working together with your community and with any suppliers who can offer surplus foods, in this instance of course fruit and veg, you know, it's a great initiative to get up and running. And you know, we're still a few months away from the summer, so definitely something to start thinking about. So thank you for that, Carol.
Can I just say, Angela, can I just say, sorry to interrupt, with us being Powys County Councillors as well, it also comes across that people can come and talk to us as well if they have a problem in their area. So it's just getting bigger and bigger, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's more of a where people can come and talk if they've got a problem as well. In confidence, nobody's ever about. We always go somewhere where we can have a little chat. So yeah, it's getting really, really bigger now. We're very proud of what we do, to be honest with you.
Right, and rightly so. An amazing achievement, Carol, and especially to have, you know, started it out with absolutely nothing behind you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions for Carol about the Give and Take? You know, if they're interested maybe in setting up something for their councils. Just see if we've got any questions.
Angela,
Yes.
sorry again. I'm sorry to butt in. I was a bit nervous about doing this, but the other thing is the vegetables and the fruit that's left over on a Saturday, we actually give to Meals on Wheels. We give that to them, and then they can use that up with their Meals on Wheels in the week as well. So we're also helping with Meals on Wheels as well.
Fantastic. And just touching on that, because again, we're talking about how everyone's sort of feeding into each other to support them. So did you want to touch on maybe the probation service as well and how their input supports a little bit of what you provide as well?
Sorry, you broke up then. Could you repeat that?
Of course. So we talked when I came to visit about the probation service as well, who maintain the allotments. Do you want to just share how that feeds into what you do at Give and Take as well, please, Carol?
Yes, they also donate vegetables and things from their allotments, which is we're always grateful for. And it's not just us they donate to, it's Meals on Wheels again, you know, they donate to other areas as well. So in a way, I suppose, between the hub, Give and Take, and that other system, it's getting to be a bigger team, and we're all starting to work together a lot more as well. Which is very good. We would like to get more things going on in Welshpool, and I think we will get there eventually. we have got a few things in the pipeline, but it's going to take a while to get that together. Yes, so yeah, that's how things are going. Yeah.
Fantastic. And, I'm sure it will keep growing. You've got a lot of support behind you, it seems, within the community, and of course with the partners who are already on board with you. So I can only see that that growing and getting bigger and stronger.
I will say that Debbie Justice, she's mostly does with the plots for us. She gets the vegetables and things. She's been a brilliant help for us with give and take. Yeah, because there's only 3 of us that run it. We do that because it's only for a few months, so we don't want all different faces coming in, because the people get used to you, and they, as I say, they'll come and have a chat with you. So yeah, we'll miss her when she's gone, to be honest with you. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Carol. Thank you so much for presenting today. Okay, so we've got a few comments in the chat. So Vanessa's commented in there, with local health boards recognising that families are struggling to afford fresh fruit and vegetables, this is such a great idea. And she asks, can I ask, does the project link with a community gardening project?
Yeah.
So yes, we've touched on the probation service who maintain the allotment. So that's how that links in. Are there any other links, or is there a community garden as well, Carol, other than?
No.
Okay. And then we have another comment here. Thanks, Councillor Carol. It's great to hear what you, Councillor Richard and Debbie, are doing. Are you engaged also with local allotment keepers? So again, we've touched on that. It sounds like give and take is also much livelier than a conventional surgery. We at Talgarth Town Council would like to hear more about how this works in practice. Maybe Hannah at ITV Wales would be interesting to hear more about this. Councillor William. Well,
I'm available. I'm available to talk to anybody at any time, and if I can give any help to support in their areas, I will do that as well. We started off by doing it on Facebook, advertise this on there every week, and also privately to people that we knew to come help us out. So yeah, I'm really be happy to help anybody that wants to start this give and take.
I particularly like the fact that you use this opportunity as a surgery as well. So
Yeah.
if people have got issues that they want to discuss within the community, they come and find you guys and they talk to you about that in confidence as well.
Yeah.
So, again, it's serving more than one purpose, which I think is really key to some of these initiatives as well. So Chris Mason has put, this is a lovely variation on a community larder idea by also providing contact with councillors. Yeah. And Emma's commented, yes, a really great opportunity to engage with the community. So hopefully I'll be coming out to see give and take in operation in the summer when it's up and running. It runs from, just to give everyone an idea, it runs from the middle of July, doesn't it, until the middle of September, which is the
till the end of September, maybe to the beginning of October. It depends how, how the fruit and vegetables start to come in at the end of September. If it goes quiet, we just stay on for a couple more weeks. But the summertime, like July onwards, it gets really busy. We've got loads of apples underneath the tables. We have everything. It's like a delivery service on a Saturday morning. Everybody just comes delivering all their fruit and vegetables. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Wonderful example of communities coming together and working together.
It's teamwork. Yeah.
Of course it is. And to do it on such a small team as well, it is amazing. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay then. So was there any other comments? Hazel's popped in there. Really interesting approach to engage with people at an existing service or project, and it also helps share good local produce. Fab. Yeah, definitely. So thanks for that comment as well, Hazel. So I'd be interested to hear if anyone else has run anything similar to the Give and Take project that we've just heard about from Carol within their communities as well, or of course, you know, anything that you know, maybe seasonal. So, you know, sometimes it's a case that you only have people within the community who can offer their time for a short burst. So, you know, it's worth looking at projects that can run seasonally as well. So in this case, something that runs in the summer, it may be that there's, you know, something that you could look at to do more around Christmas times, etc. as well. So as, you know, you could maybe start thinking about partners who you could work with on a seasonal basis also as well. Okay. So I understand Blenavon have joined us today, and Blenavon have been exceptionally active in you know, getting support from partners and organisations within their community. So Sophie, I know you're here today. I mean, would you, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but you're the Community Engagement Officer for Blenavon. Are there any sort of key tips really that you can give people, you know, maybe if you might want to pop something in the chat as to the best approaches of getting that engagement going to get those partnerships moving forward? You know, obviously no pressure, but you know, we'd love to hear from you, Sophie, just because there's so much work that that happens at Blenavon, and it would be wonderful if we could maybe you know, understand how you achieve some of those things there. Okay, so are there any other comments or any other questions? Oh, Sophie's come back to me. No problem. Give me 5 minutes and I'll type something up. So we'll hopefully hear some information there from Sophie. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So Sophie's popped something in the chat there for us. Thank you very much for that, Sophie. You must have been typing away furiously there. So Sophie says, so Sophie is the Community Engagement Officer for Blenavon Town Council, and they've, as I mentioned before, they've done particularly well at partnering with local businesses and organisations to put on lots and lots of initiatives and to set up lots of projects for their areas, some of which we've covered in our case studies. So Sophie's put here, we have run a lot of successful projects with partners. The key thing that has helped us is just not being afraid to approach partners, organisations that we think can help us achieve these for as little or no cost to the council. For example, a big issue for our residents was the lack of access to a swimming pool in the town and the expense of travelling to the nearest pool. I approached our local leisure trust to ask if we could work together to allow Blenavon residents to access the pool for free. Due to a pot of funding they were able to offer us free use of the pool. The town council also funds a coach with a local company to offer free transport for residents to the pool. And this has been an ongoing project for over 12 months now. We run at least one day every school holiday with around 60 to 70 people attending each time. This is a really low cost project for the council that has such a huge positive impact on the community during the cost of living crisis. Wow, absolutely amazing. Again, just a wonderful example of how approaching someone there who's offering the service that you desperately need for your community, and then being able to get that up and running off the ground. And as Sophie says, it supports so many people, 60 to 70 people attending each time. That's amazing. That's such big numbers, and to offer that at such a low cost or no cost as well. And then we have another comment here in the chat. A lot of organisations have targets they need to achieve to be seen to be benefiting and helping the community. So many are always willing to work with us in order to reach those. So that's an interesting comment there as well. So, you know, we really would love to hear of, as I've mentioned before, of what's happening in your communities, within your councils, what projects are up and running, where you've particularly been successful because of those partnerships that you've forged. We really would like to hear. So even if you want to email us separately after the webinar, please do let us know. And it may be the case that we'd love to come out and visit you and find out a little bit more about that project and hopefully showcase that for others to learn from and maybe duplicate as well for their areas. So if there's no more questions, I'll just give everyone a minute just to add anything if there's any other comments or questions. No. Okay, so I just wanted to conclude today's session then. Firstly, if I could just extend our sincere thanks to all of our guest speakers for sharing their valuable insights and experiences. Absolutely blown away by everything that we've heard here today. Thank you also to Sophie for adding her comments in the chat as well. You know, some great information there too. So supporting residents through the cost of living crisis is not always something councils can do alone, as we've heard. It requires strong partnerships and collaboration working across sectors. By joining forces with community organisations, voluntary groups, businesses and other stakeholders, councils really can maximise their resources, strengthen service delivery and create lasting, meaningful support for those who need it most. So, you know, hopefully today you've all seen some real life examples of how collaboration is already transforming communities, whether that's through the food initiatives, through getting financial support, or, you know, any of the other vital services we've heard about today. And these initiatives truly highlight the power of working together and demonstrating what can be achieved when councils and their partners align their efforts. The cost of living crisis continues to put pressure on households, making our collective response even more important than ever. By fostering strong long-term partnerships, we can ensure that no one in our community is left struggling alone and that support reaches those who need it most. And we really hope you leave today with new ideas and some inspiration and hopefully the motivation as well to strengthen collaboration in your own councils, helping to build more resilient and supportive communities for the future. So, you know, we really do hope today's webinar will help you along now on that journey to move forward with some of those projects you've maybe already been thinking about or have already tried to get off the ground.